Listeners, you might remember that last year we had Ghouly On Up. But this year,
welcome to Ghouly On Up. I think the most scary thing is now we've run out of puns to do with our name. So next year, I don't know what we're going to be called.
That's a very good point. Gonna have to change the name.
Whole podcast change.
Actually, Spooky On Up's right there. Spooky On Up.
Ah, Spooky. Sorted for another year.
We've got another year.
Got one more year in us. Hello and welcome to Ghouly On Up, episode 86, with your host, me, Alfie Walker.
And your other host, Adam Barlow.
Very spooky indeed. That's about as spooky as this episode's going to get. We haven't really got much spooky stuff to talk about, unless you think AI and gay people are spooky, which, I mean...
Oh no. We're definitely going to appeal to a certain demographic in this episode, I guess. So if you've just tuned over from GBN and come to Move On Up, then welcome.
Welcome, Gammons. I love how pink your faces are.
Political satire. Right. Yeah, today... It's the Halloween special, but as you say, it's not going to be that spooky because we haven't really planned anything that spooky, really. That's the long and the short of it, isn't it? But we've got the classic reviews coming up, so don't you worry. I went and did a double bill at the weekend of I Swear and Good Fortune. And Alf, you've been on the old Netflix, haven't you?
I have indeed. I've binge-watched the new Netflix show Boots. Bit of raving about it. It seems to be on the top 10 across the UK and that. Really good fun. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Adam Barlow also did catch some spooky films though. What were the three that you watched?
I ended up watching Scream, Corpse Bride, The Thing, and I guess if we want to lap back to Frankenstein that I saw at the film festival.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So there's some pretty good films you've watched there. And it was your first time watching The Thing, right? And you saw that on the big screen.
Yes, indeed. It was an experience.
Body horror. Adam's not known for his strong stomach, so you can hear all about that later. First of all, though, how you doing, mate? Busy boy?
Busy boy. You know how it is. We had to say no to a press screening this week as well, which we were both kind of heartbroken about. It was full begonia, so it could be rubbish, given our Yorgos Lanthimos love-hate relationship, but it had honey-flavoured cocktails, canapes, what else? Just general free snacks.
Yeah,
and
it looked fun, didn't it? It looked themed and fun.
It definitely looked like the biggest sort of press screening that we've been invited to. We have got another invite.
Skip it.
Yep, so we're not bitter about it at all. But I sent a very nice email back saying, hi there. We can't go, but please keep us in your minds for the next one.
Please invite us again.
Please. Just begging. How are you, mate? How are you?
Not too bad. I am excited to... Well, like you said, we have got another press screening on the horizon for... I was going to say Edgar Allan Poe's. That's not his name. Edgar Rice. Running Man, and we seem to have secured a ticket for that, and I'm currently swapping my shift for someone at work so I can finish a bit early and head along to that next week, so that's really fun. I'm looking forward to it now. I'm a bit more settled in my job and I've passed probation, all that rubbish. It should be a bit easier for me to potentially just slip off 2 hours early here and there, and then hopefully get the train to London and catch a cool film with you. So exciting things ahead.
Now, be honest though, are you swapping your shift or are you just taking a really extended toilet break?
You've got me. You've got me. Maybe that's the spookiest thing. It's, I don't know, bowel cancer, something like that. Yes, you're quite right. I'm going to go to the bathroom, clock out, No, I'm not going to clock out. I'm going to jump the barriers because bearing in mind it is a big old building with security doors. So I'm going to just jump the barrier and then somehow sneak my way back in tomorrow and actually claim it all as overtime. Yeah, that's my plan.
Imagine.
I've been here 12 hours.
Oh man, Alfie, what did you get up to? Oh, just emails,
tax returns all night.
You look really well rested, Alf. Oh well, there's nothing that calms the soul more than group emails.
Yeah, filing people's taxes. Yeah, that's where I want to be in my life.
Oh man, it's literally just the opening scene of The Incredibles. I'm so sorry.
It really, The Office is, it's soul sapping. The like neon light bars that they have on the ceiling.
I've not watched Severance, but I have watched your Snapchat stories, and I feel like that's basically the same thing.
Basically watched Severance, yeah.
Deary me. One day, Alf, you will be, I don't know, sat side by side with Steven Spielberg, just watching Paw Patrol 4. In the grave.
Paw Patrol 4. Wow, is that coming out this year? You haven't reviewed, I did see a poster for it, Gabby's Dollhouse, the new film. I was hoping you'd come to the podcast this week ready to review that.
No, because you DM'd me about this. You said, when are you seeing this one? I value my time to a certain degree, and I had to draw the line, okay? So if you're here for a review of Gabby's Dollhouse, I'm sorry to disappoint. You're not going to get that from me.
I'm going to task Josh Brooker. Why don't you head along to Gabby's Dollhouse and email in and let us know how it was.
Good luck, soldier. Alf, earlier today I sent you an Instagram reel of someone attending, the big spherical screen venue in LA, or is it Las Vegas?
I think that's what it's called, yeah, spherical screen venue. Got it on there.
The SEO is just non-existent. No, it's called, did I write it down? It's called COSM,
isn't it?
I think it's COSM. Like COSM. Yeah, rubbish name.
SEO on that isn't very good, is it?
No, it isn't either. But it was a video of someone attending a screening of what they call immersive... Is it immersive reality or is it collective reality? It's something along those lines, where basically you sit and watch a film like usual, except because the roof and the walls and the floor is screened as well, it looks like you're in the movie, kind of. But Alfie, you said you've got a lot of opinions on this, so I'll let you rant about it first.
So interestingly, after doing some research, like all good journalists should, I've discovered that they're actually two different things that we're talking about. So the COSM is in LA, which is the thing you sent me. And then you've got the Sphere, which is the one in Las Vegas. So the Sphere in Las Vegas is the one that did the Wizard of Oz one, where they extend the film with both sort of CG and AI enough so that it creates new extended scenes, and then they project it fully around you. But don't get me wrong, this seems like exactly the same kind of ilk, so I'm going to presume my opinions are pretty the same for this one too. Okay,
I didn't know that. I mean, why does America have two of these things?
Yeah, interesting. But anyway, let's talk about it. So the Wizard of the Oz one, there's a really good video on YouTube from, I think it's Corridor Crew, they did it, where they talk about how it's made. And basically they have the film, they then had CG artists go in and add on bits. And then, it is a lot of digital extension. And then they show this film with sort of extra bits, and I really hate it. I think it's kind of blasphemy to an original product. All these people that, like, I'm no big fan of Wizard of Oz. I'm not like a huge proprietor of that film or anything like that, like by no means, but I can appreciate its absolute sort of icon status. And it was like, was it the first Technicolor? Like all of that sort of thing. And then I feel like you've come along with a technology that's evolved significantly in the past 2 years, and you're extending scenes and adding fakeness, and all those people that have crafted this film to be such a a moment in time in the ratio it is, and then you're like shoving it on this huge screen with really gratuitous CG and sort of bad AI in some cases. I'm not a fan of it. And if this Matrix one is the same thing, and from what I can tell it sort of is, I don't like it, mate. What's your opinion?
I think I'm along the same lines. I'm kind of all for them trying to experiment and bring breathe new life into the cinematic experience. That's fine. But then I look at a 4DX screening, which I've never done. I'm somewhat tempted, but that seems too far for me. And so this is almost like a step beyond that, where it's just kind of too much. And also it says, oh, it really felt like you were in the film. I'm like, no, because actually at least from the video that I sent you, it looks really confusing as to where the film ends and the actual like tat around it begins. And it didn't look very convincing at all. It just looked like you're playing a VR game, but not one that had been made. Like you know, like on YouTube, you can find those 360 videos where it's just a really low res roller coaster ride, and it's like, oh, look at this. This is the future of social media, and you're like, is it though? No, it's not. And that's what it kind of gives me the vibe of. It doesn't look very expensive. It doesn't look like it's treating the source material with any respect. And I mean, it's a similar discussion to what we have whenever we talk about the Disney remakes, but by going back and fiddling with these properties, and let's be honest, you're only going to do that with a film that's beloved, because who's going to turn out to see, I don't know,
Empire of Light,
Despicable Me, or Despicable Me 4 in like 8D or whatever. No one's going to do that, so you've got to do it with something that you love. But then by doing that, the subtext is that there's something wrong or missing or less about the original thing, if that makes sense. The Matrix doesn't need to be 360 degrees around your head. Like, it already is specifically set to be that aspect ratio. That's why it's a film and not a walk-through exhibition. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah,
absolutely.
It's strange.
It's nice that we're agreeing on this, because I've had some conversations with people about it, and some people are really up for it, and I get where they're coming from. I do get the appeal of an experience that's sort of full on, and I guess for a film that you're really, really enthralled by, it would be cool. Like, I'm trying to imagine maybe watching, I don't know, Empire Strikes Back, and you're in Hoth, like this whole room is white, and I don't know, you've got all these special effects of snow everywhere. Like, yeah, in my head that does sound kind of cool, but I think it is slightly offensive to the original product that's made and the art that they've crafted, and all these people, millions of pounds and man hours, and it was like you're going, because AI is so new. You think we went from, like, was it 2 years ago when they were like, here's Will Smith eating spaghetti, and it was really shit, and like overnight it's turned into did you see the Channel 4, the AI presenter?
No.
Oh, mate, have you not seen this? Like, they broadcasted with an AI presenter, and it's flawless. Absolutely,
without telling
flawless. Anyone? Yes, yeah. Halfway through the video, she goes, "I'm AI."
What?
Yeah, it's maddening. And it's so convincing. Like, to think we've come that far in sort of 2 years. I'm not a huge fan of AI being used. I'm not a huge fan. I don't like AI being used for art anyway. But it's so catch-22 when it is useful for other stuff, so I feel like a bit of a two-face with it. But yeah, for something like film or music crafting, I'm not a fan. I don't like it. And like you said, it feels, the extra elements as well make it feel sort of tacky. Like this Wizard of the Oz one, when they go through the forest and the apples fall on her, like they were releasing foam apples from the ceiling to land on people. And when the monkeys fly off, they had like drone flying monkeys flying around the cinema.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, go watch some clips and you'll see what I mean by like gratuitous screen stretching and AI as well. It's not for me, I think.
Yeah, well, watch this space. I'm sure we're going to get a press invite to one now that we've shared our love for it.
Off, yeah.
Oh dear. Right, let's get back on track and let's review our first film of the day, I suppose. What do you want to hear about first, Av? I Swear or Good Fortune?
So I know nothing about either, really. So take it. Maybe go for the most upbeat one.
Okay. let's go with Good Fortune first then.
As I just said, I know very little about this film other than what I've sort of clicked on recently. You've got Keanu Reeves, and then you've got Aziz Ansari as the director as well, as also starring. Got Seth Rogen, Sandra Oh. Seems like a fairly decent cast here, Adam. What was this one like?
Yeah, the cast is very strong. Keke Palmer in there as well. I was really impressed with it, actually. I think it's not like high art or anything. It is a comedy action. Well, I don't know if it's not really got that much action in it, but certainly a good comedy bromance kind of film. All about, well, it's a body swap comedy. Okay, so think Freakier Friday.
Face Off.
Face Off. Is that technically a body swap? I guess so. It's a face swap, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or do they swap other parts? I can't remember.
I can't even remember either.
Not sure.
Yeah, it's just face. Yeah, just identities, isn't it? But same gist.
Yeah, they're kind of thing. But mainly think Freaky Friday. So
no, I'll think Face Off. Thank you.
all right, fine. Think whatever you want. Who cares? This film takes those well-known kind of cliches of that subgenre and, in a way, sort of flips it on its head. So Aziz Ansari plays the lead character Arj, who is down on his luck, is living in his car. He's sleeping in his car overnight. He's just picking up loads of 0-hour contracts and part-time jobs, but nothing really sticks. He's got enough money to get by, but he's not living comfortably at all. But he's sort of a bit numb to everything, I suppose, and he's not very interested in joining up to his workplace union to make anything better. He's like, well, what's the point? They're not going to listen. Life goes on. And he even says in the film, like, I've not got it as bad as some people, but I have it pretty shit, which I think is something that maybe a lot of audience members will be able to relate to. I think it was quite a nice sort of everyday character that is, you can definitely see yourself in parts of his character. Then you've got Seth Rogen, who plays Jeff, who it's kind of not really clear exactly what his job is, but he's on the board for this big company that oversees lots of other little companies, and he sort of started out as a crypto bro that got lucky with trading and then invested financially. That all paid off, and he's got this huge mansion. He lives very comfortably. He lives alone though. He's not got any family. He's got a very nice car, huge house, as I say, huge pool. Just whatever problems comes up, he's like, oh, don't worry, I'll pay for it. Oh, that's fine. Like, he had to get his filter replaced in his pool, and it's like, oh, that'll be 30 grand. He's like, yeah, just stick on the company card. It's that kind of level of wealth and ignorance, I suppose. And then you've got Keanu Reeves as the sort of final member of this trio. So Keanu is playing, rather fittingly, an angel, because, let's face it, Keanu Reeves is an angel. He plays Gabriel. Now, you're introduced at the start of this film to a sort of group of angels that aren't seen by humans, but they all have wings, and the size of your wings sort of dictates your place in the hierarchy of angels. And Gabriel has these like tiny toddler-sized wings, which is really funny, on the back of Keanu Reeves. And it looks like just tacky fancy dress, which is kind of the point of it. Like, it's meant to be a bit tongue-in-cheek. And his job is to stop people from texting and driving. So all he does is he pops up in the back of their car, and just when they're about to crash, he just puts a hand on their shoulder that sort of, gives them a chill and wakes them up, and they're like, oh, and they screech to a halt just in time. And while he has this job, he only has to save like 2 or 3 people a day. He's very good at it, but it's not very fulfilling for him. So he decides, having watched other angels, namely one played by Stephen McKinley Henderson, who you will know from things like Dune, very recognisable actor, and he watches this guy whose job is to find lost souls and, stop them from committing suicide and all things like this. I think his name's Azrael, which I think meant to be a rip-off of the angel from It's a Wonderful Life. You know, that 1940s classic Christmas film, or 30s, whenever it was. So that's the kind of setup. You've got a jealous Gabriel who then is like, right, I'm going to head out. I'm going to stop. You know, let's leave the text drivers to their own devices, literally, and I'm going to find a lost soul. Upon which he finds Arj, who is like, right, I'm financially, you know, bankrupt, basically. He ends up working for Jeff for part of time, and then realizes, hang on, I could make Arj's life better if I let him live Jeff's life. So they don't body swap, but in terms of society, they switch places. So Arj keeps his memory, Jeff doesn't, but Arj owns the house and the car and everything, and he's got the job, whereas Jeff is living in his car, and you get the idea. So that's the kind of fish out of water comedy. Later on, Jeff does get his memory back, and then he's like, wait, what the fuck have you done to me? And you've then got this really funny dynamic where Gabriel is an angel that's completely out of his depth, that hasn't ever really mentored anyone through this process. So he's got no idea how to, like, you know, juggle the situation, because obviously it goes wrong. And then you find out about halfway through, you know, the sort of classic, you've got to realize your lesson, and then you'll be able to go back to the way things were. In this film, the twist is you've got to really passionately love your old life, which obviously isn't gonna happen. So like, Arj is like, he's Aziz Ansari, right? I've not seen him in much beyond Parks and Rec, but I've seen all of that show and love him in it. He's basically playing the same character. Like, he's quite street smart. He's a bit cocky, quippy, very funny. And it just works. I think his sort of snidiness, but also he's got like a good heart, you know, at his core. So it works. He feels bad about what he's done to Jeff for like uprooting his life, but also he's like, well, I've got a pool, like, sorry. And then you've got Seth Rogen, who I think it works perfectly fine. I think you probably could have switched him out for a few other actors and it probably would have had little effect. But Seth Rogen, you know, always funny. And there is a scene where he does magic mushrooms and then does his laugh. So that's in there.
Classic Seth Rogen.
Classic. And it works every time. But then I think Keanu Reeves, I've got to say, is the real standout here. Because when Sandra Oh, who plays Martha, she's the sort of head angel, she finds out that he's been on this escapade and says, right, I'm stripping you of your duties. I need to take your wings back, which means he's then visible by everyone. And he can't teleport or anything. He's got to just drive around and like get buses. And he just has to like share the car that Jeff has and sleeps in his car with him. And then it becomes like a 3-way buddy romance kind of thing, you know, bromance, and it just works really well because you've got an angel that hasn't experienced human experience at all. So he's never eaten anything, he's never drunk anything. So he goes to a burger place and has to slowly try and learn how to chew food and how to swallow drinks and stuff. And you've got Keanu Reeves, who obviously best known for things like The Matrix, which we mentioned, of course, and John Wick, which he's very brooding and very cold and sort of down the line in those roles. But in this, he's just he's a golden retriever, which I think is more attuned to how he is in real life. So he's there like, oh my god, chicken nuggies are the best ever. And his hair is just like floofing about, and then he becomes like a stoner because he works as like a washing up bloke in a bar, and everyone's life derails more and more until the end where it all works out. But I felt this film was really funny. I was chuckling throughout. I think there were a couple of really good belly laughs in there. The score was quite sweet. All the actors understood the assignment, play it perfectly, and I think it does enough to really freshen up this, subgenre of body swap comedies, and I think it really worked well. Script was strong enough. Keke Palmer maybe a bit underused. That's probably my main criticism. She's she's obviously a great comedic force, but in this she's sort of given this one small role and kind of cordoned off, which is fine, but maybe doesn't make the most of her talents. But I really enjoyed it. I had a great time with it, and I was pleasantly surprised. It's a shame that it's not been marketed that much. I remember seeing the trailer when it first dropped on YouTube, just because I follow like hashtag Keanu Reeves. But beyond that, I hadn't seen anything. So it's a shame that it slipped under the radar. But hopefully this review will bring it to more people's attention.
I'm going to talk briefly about the new Netflix show recently. It's been out for a couple of weeks, called Boots. Have you seen anything about this, Adam?
I haven't. I remember you did a little shout out to it on your Instagram story, but beyond that, no.
Yeah, so I'll start the review by saying the Pentagon released a statement about it.
Oh, wow.
Calling it woke garbage. So if you want to give a show a watch for any reason, I think having the Pentagon call you out is a pretty good one. It focuses on a gay Marine trainee. So it's sort of a comedy drama, maybe more of a, I don't know. It's a good mix. It's got a nice mix in there. It's based on the memoir by a guy called Greg Cope White. So it's his own experience. The memoir is called The Pink Marine. And yeah, it's about a gay teenager who's bullied at home, craves a change. His home life's rubbish. His mum sort of is careless. You've got being bullied. You've got sort of stereotypical stuff like that, and craves a change. And upon his friend joining the Marines, he goes, perfect, I'll do it too. I've got nothing here for me. And he is like camp. He's like camp skinny. The last person you expect is going to go join the Marines. And it's basically 8 episodes following him through his journey, training, becoming a Marine. And it's a real sort of fun binge watch. This is what I did. We started it on, I think it was on a Friday night. I think we chucked on, watched about 4 episodes, and then finished the other 4 on the Saturday. They're about an hour a piece, and like I said, there's 8 episodes. So the main actor is Miles Heiser. He's from 13 Reasons Why. He plays, I think it's Alex in that. So he's fairly well known with people our age. Not seen him in anything else. The only sort of really established actor in there, I'd say, is Vera Farmiga. You'll know her from like The Conjuring. I think that's all I know her from, really. But she's fairly well known. Oh, she's about the only one.
Yeah, she's in
there.
Hawkeye as well, I think.
Yes, yeah. She plays she played the mum in it, doesn't she?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So she's like the only sort of established actor in it, but she's not got a load of screen time. But for what she does, she's doing something quite cool. You've also got the other one I'd shout is Max Parker, who I think is kind of the standout in the show, playing a sergeant in the army. And I mean, very minor spoilers. You get this by the 2nd episode, but he's like a gay sergeant who's sort of on the run almost. It's a bit sort of, he's a bit shifty, and he's really good. He's only ever been in stuff like Emmerdale, I think. He's British, and once again, he's really cool in it. But it's a show that's got heart. It's got some real gut punches, sort of some twists and turns. Really focuses on quite a lot of deep stuff that obviously these people would be thinking when they're training, and why people would go to start in the Marines. At times, I don't know if it feels a little propagandary, which is weird when you've got the Pentagon calling it woke garbage. But I think no matter the film, if it focuses on war, it always feels a little bit promo-y. But overall, the comedy hits really well. It's sort of, just goes through their training. I found it slightly cringy in some places, but I think that's maybe my own comedy taste more so. And it is a very American show, so it's got sort of that American comedy in it. But I think most people would really, really enjoy it. The discourse on some of the heavy stuff is good, about the being gay in the military. Particularly, I think the book was written the guy who wrote the book was in the army in the 70s, and then this series is obviously based on that, but it's set in the 90s, so it's a little bit different. But being gay in the army then was illegal in the 90s as well, so it focuses on quite like a important subject matter. Like I said, so the storyline following the sergeant played by Max Parker, who is a sort of closeted person, and has had sort of previous relationships in his old regiment, and you can tell there's something going on. His storyline really kept me interested. That's quite a interesting thing to keep you ticking over when it sort of pops back to him every now and then. Obviously, the main show focuses on Cameron Cope, the main guy, but it's got sort of lots of little bits going on. It focuses on other characters in the Marines training, maybe for an episode here or there, and their home issues, where stuff like making your parents proud, or if they're brothers and they don't get on. It really covers like a full ground of issues, and I think it does really well in that. I find reviewing TV shows a lot harder than reviewing film. There's a lot more sort of goes on. You think it's 8 hours long, so it's quite a lot happens. But as I've said, it's really fun. If you're gay, you're gonna love it. It's a bit sexy here and there, and there's sort of these gritty twists here and there, and stuff happens that shocks you, and then you're like up for it, and you're sort of egging people on as you're watching it. It kept us on the edge of our seats. It was fun. It dealt with really sort of tough matters. It's a recommended binge watch for me. I think it was a good time, and there's a lot of promo going on at the moment for it. Sort of similar to what was the film just recently with like Kit Connor and that, the military one?
Warfare.
Yes, yeah, that's it, Warfare. So obviously nothing like that. That's way more serious. But the way the press tour was, where you have them sort of in their big group and the brotherhood between the actors, and I mean, obviously how sexy all the actors are, that played such a huge thing, and that's promo. And they're doing the same thing for this. You've got all these actors sort of together, really showing that they spent so long on set together, and it's quite I think it gets you like, yeah, they seem like they had fun. It seems like this show's going to be fun. And then a promo that they're really pushing is that of the main cast, I think there's about 6 gay people in it. So
oh, sweet.
It's really pushing sort of that agenda, which is definitely why it's got the Pentagon provoked. But no, really fun. A really recommended binge watch for me. I just think it sort of takes up the time. It's not too heavy, but does some nice heavy stuff, and does some important messages there, I think.
Netflix notorious for cancelling shows, before they sort of hit their stride. Do you think if this was given a second series, I mean, could it have a second series? And if it did, do you think it would be better? And would you watch it?
You've got the actors promoing for a second series. All of them are posting on Instagram being like, please support our show, please support our show. And like you said, I think I looked this up before because I was wondering, but I think it has to get so many million watches in the first 2 weeks to get a second season from Netflix. I don't know if it will do it. There's absolutely potential here. Whether you just get a completely new bunch of actors and do a whole new team of guys coming in and doing the training, absolutely, I'd watch that. Or yeah, you pick up where this finished, because it does have one big sort of plot thread left hanging. And they could absolutely pick that up. And I mean, they do finish their training. That's the whole purpose of the show. It's one season, they're going to be Marines at the end, but you could follow them further in their careers, I guess, and see them as a group actually doing stuff. It ends on a nice sort of tied up note. So if it's one season, it's a perfect sort of little package. But if they decide to do a season 2, they could definitely go some nice places with it. The only reason I know about this one, Adam, is due to our friend and listener Mason promoting the hell out of it like he works for Studio Canal on his Instagram. This is I Swear. So this is the new film. Mainly, I think it's getting a bit of promo due to it starring Robert Arameo, however you say his name. So he plays Elrond in the Amazon Lord of the Rings show, and he's quite good in that. I think he's nice. So how was this film, Adam? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I haven't seen Robert in anything else previously, but I thought he was very strong here indeed. It's got a fairly small cast, and it follows the story of the real life story of John Davidson, who has Tourette's himself and grew up in the 80s, in the 90s, at a time where he was shunned by his classmates. He got really severely bullied at school, Because Tourette's, I think, sort of infamously develops really within a character when they're in their teenage years, which is already an awkward enough time for everyone involved, you know. But to also then start having tics and, you know, having this uncontrollable condition with no cure is a really tough thing for parents and families and the person involved, you know, to go through. So I found this film to be really very affecting, and it caught me off guard because I think the trailer was sort of billing it as though it was a comedy. So I was going in like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to feel guilty about laughing at this, you know, because it is a condition. You couldn't do this with many other, you know, I mean, not that many people with Tourette's call it disability, but you know, along those lines, you couldn't do this about, you know, fill in the blanks. It just wouldn't work. It wouldn't be tasteful. So I was like, it's weird that they've given this film that angle. But I'm glad to say that the film, having watched it, I actually thought was incredibly somber, and I teared up / cried about 3 or 4 times throughout this film, which I really was not expecting. I found it incredibly uncomfortable at times. I found it challenging to watch. I chuckled, I think, twice. The audience I was with really, you know, laughed at all the bits that were hyped up in the trailers and, you know, were put in like TV spots, all that sort of stuff. You know, there's lots of quotes from the film with bad language. You know, I mean, he calls the head teacher a C word at one point, which, I mean, is fair play. It is really like there's every word, every slur under the sun in here. But I found it actually, in context, not to be funny at all. And while my audience were laughing, I kind of sort of, not cringed, but I sort of was like, ooh, I don't know if that's really meant to be a laugh, but okay. I think it's just the way, maybe that's the way they're reacting to the uncomfortableness of it. Maybe that's it. But I felt that my audience were, I don't know, before the film started, they were a bit, you know, they were rustling their stuff and kind of, there was people in the front row that were waffling about something, like up until the first line of dialogue. So like throughout every advert, throughout every trailer, throughout the titles of the film, they were talking. It took them until someone spoke. Yeah, I was like, this is a bit much. But having said that, the film is all about the things that people with Tourette's couldn't do because of the way that, you know, society was not educated about the condition. So, you know, the lead character, John Davidson, he couldn't go to a library. Like, he'd never been to one in his life because he would just he felt so guilty about it that he didn't want to disturb other people. And the situations that they put him in, it really is depressing because it's like, it's sort of the worst case scenario at so many turns. Like, the police had no respect and didn't take him seriously when he was arrested for certain incidents. Like, he hit someone in a club, and then he, also like the sort of rough lower class upbringing didn't help matters either. But I thought it was a fascinating story, and the fact that he's now sort of turned his life around to promote hugely this condition and educate people, you know, nationally but worldwide as well, because he's got an MBE from the Queen. That's how the sort of film is bookended, by him initially being really nervous about going in and then swear it, like saying fuck the Queen. And like, I don't know if that actually happened. I'd love it if it was true. I haven't checked that, but that's how the film starts, and then it cuts to the whole story. Then at the end he receives the MBE, and it's a, you know, a cut of everything he's done in his life, and the classic sort of biopic lines of, oh, he did this and this and achieved this and did this at age whatever. So in that respect, it's kind of a cliche biopic in some regards, but I felt that the subject matter was so surprisingly unique and well handled and mature that I got a lot out of it. In fact, I've just seen here, it's 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, bloody hell. That's a feat and a half. I don't know if it's got a smaller release. Maybe it's not out worldwide. I don't know. It's very Scottish. I'll say that. It really does embed itself in Scottish culture, and I think that's a lovely thing. So perhaps that's why Mason gravitated to it so much as well. But I'm really glad that he championed it on Instagram, because I think had he not done that, and I did message him saying this, so if you're listening, thank you again. The fact that he kept sort of reposting stuff about it kept it fresh in my mind, because having done the London Film Festival, this film had been out for about 2 or 3 weeks and I'd missed it. And to be honest, I was just going to let it slide by. I was like, oh, people have seen it and enjoyed it, but I don't know if I need, if I feel the need to catch it. And thank God I did, because as I said, I just found it incredibly affecting and well worth a watch. It's not easy to watch at all, because as I say, it is just so heartbreaking at times. I mean, for example, I don't want to give too much away, but there is a moment where a character passes away and he's the first person to find the body, and it's someone he deeply cares about. So he calls the police, obviously, because that's the protocol, right? But then his Tourette makes him blurt out the most, like the stuff you should not say. So he's like admitting to murdering this person that he just found, and you're like, oh my goodness, like how do you even get out of that situation when the police don't? They will take that and run with it. I mean, yeah, just horrendous situations that this poor man went through. But I think Robert Aramayo is so fully involved in this character. I think it works so well. He's totally committed. A really incredible film and an incredible story to find out about. And I'm glad that this movie was made. And I know I've banged on about it being really sad, but it is ultimately uplifting, and it's a hopeful film that ends in a way that I thought was quite inspiring, really. Because again, no, I won't spoil it actually, but you'll see he gets a bit of hope for the future at the end, and I'm like, wow, that's bloody impressive. And it's set, timelines throughout his life. I think a couple of years ago this event happens that I don't think I knew about previously. So having seen that this development took place within the world of Tourette's, I was like, that is fascinating, and I'm glad for that reason alone that this film, brought that to my attention. I think that's brilliant.
So to finish, we're going to have a little chat about Halloween films that Adam Barlow has seen recently. So I think the main one we want to talk about here is you saw The Thing for the first time and on the big screen. I can only imagine how you felt watching this, Adam.
Yeah, there were moments for sure where I sunk into my seat. I'm not going to lie, but I had a decent time with The Thing. I mean, it's so ingrained in pop culture, and it's so sort of, it really set the trends for horror films that came after that. I mean, this came out after Alien, didn't it? So it didn't influence that. I think this is quite derivative of Alien to a certain extent. I think Alien's the better movie, but it was really cool to see the practical effects. I loved that there's moments of stop motion that really take you out of the film, but that in a way is kind of creepy. There is something unsettling about stop motion, and yeah, I like when you can see the proper craftsmanship of individuals that's gone into a film. And I liked Kurt Russell in the lead. I thought he's very good. It just felt very classic and very of its time. I know they did a remake in 2011, I think, or 2013. I don't know anything about that. I wonder if that's any good. Probably not. But man, what an experience The Thing is. If you haven't seen it, it's basically, as Alfie said earlier, it's a body horror and not much else. It's an alien that is found in a block of ice in, is it the South Pole? Is it Antarctica?
I think so.
And I think it's this Norwegian team dig it up and then finds that this happens off screen, but I think is what the prequel sequel is about. Anyway, the sort of film opens with this helicopter chasing a dog, which you don't know but is infected with the thing, which you never really see in its true form. It just adopts the DNA and mimics living life forms, so humans, animals, etc. And it's basically I think it inspired Among Us, didn't it, as well? Like, that's essentially what that app is. So I was watching it the whole time. I was like, this is Among Us, isn't it? This is what this is. Which, yeah.
One of you's a trader, and the rest of you are faithful.
Yeah. Is there a moment where they go an event? There might even be. I think that might happen. I can't remember. But on the big screen, I thought it worked well. I think everyone. It was almost fully booked out as well, I should say. So there was a great atmosphere there. People were sort of laughing and squirming at the gore, but it was just loads of people there that enjoyed films, not necessarily even just horror films. I could tell there were a lot of people my age there that were watching it for the first time, and equally, I think, got the same amount of enjoyment out of it and respected its place in culture and its importance. But yeah, it's not, at least for my mind, it's not the greatest horror film ever made, but I can see why it's so beloved, you know?
Yeah, so like held in high regard. And Carpenter, I don't know if you saw this, but John Carpenter, obviously, who was the director, was interviewed the other day, and he was asked if he liked the substance, obviously being a body horror, and that's his whole thing. His whole thing is body horror. And he said he didn't like it. He said he hated the substance. So there's a real load of discourse going on at the moment saying how much of like a grouchy old man he is, that he didn't like that. Because Substance is easily my top 3 from last year. I loved it.
Crikey.
It took me a while to get to it, but once I understood it a bit more, I loved it. But yeah, the interview of him, you'll see it on TikTok. It's all over the place. A shame. And like you said, go on, sorry.
Does he say why he doesn't like it?
No, that's the thing. And the woman asks him why, and he just goes, "I didn't like anything about it."
Right, okay.
Yeah, so... yeah, a bit of a shame, but like you said, the practicality of it is what I think is so charming, and what I love about those kind of horror films. About it's anything pre CG, isn't it? It's probably anything before sort of 2007. But the practicality and the physicality of it, the fact it's real and it's there and they're interacting with it, and the gore and the fake blood is going everywhere, and you've got the puppets and the fact there's people inside it making it work. And like you said, the like really crass sort of like Ray Harryhausen stop motion of the stuff. It's just so good. It's really what I love, and it's such a bit of a tangent, but like when they were doing that with Baby Yoda, with Grogu and the Mandalorian, like it just makes me smile. It makes me go, yes, I bring back puppets, man. Like they're doing a Gremlins remake, aren't they? They've said that now, and Steven Spielberg has also said that they're going to do a Goonies 2, and I dread that with these films they're going to just do CG, especially with the Gremlins. Like, no, I need a practical, physical puppet running about, and I just love it. I just love it so much. The Fly, you haven't watched that yet, have you?
No. I wonder if I would like The Fly more or less. I think I know more about The Fly, and I've watched clips of it probably when I was too young. Which maybe didn't help. But whenever I get in a shower, I would say 1 in 3 times I think about The Fly. I'm like, I have a little bit of a phobia of showers, which I don't think I've ever admitted to anyone out loud. But whenever I get in a shower, especially if I'm doing these morning shifts at the BBC, I'm up at 4 o'clock, so 4:15 I'm in the shower, and it's dark and everyone else is asleep, and no lights are on apart from the bathroom light. I hate that. I really hate it, because it makes me think of things like The Fly and Superman 3. Okay, and I can't stand it.
That's so funny. I think you'd like The Fly more. I prefer The Fly. I'm not actually a huge fan of The Thing. I appreciate like I said, the puppets and the practicality of it, but as a like horror films from the 70s and 80s, it would be quite low down on my list. And like you said, with the remake that's a prequel that they did, the puppet for that, right? They fully made it. They fully made this huge practical puppet, and they shot the whole thing with it. And then in post, they just covered it up with a CG version of it. And there's behind the scene clips of this puppet, and it's amazing. It's so good. And then in the final film, they just covered it up fully with a CG model. It's criminal.
Yeah, it's baffling when they do that. I guess, I mean, they make the practical things to, get references for lighting and things like that for the VFX, but I'm like, surely just cut the middleman out and just keep the first step of that and save money. But there we are. Other films I saw this week, I watched Scream for the first time, which I'm sure I said this time last year on the Halloween special when we spoke about best horror films of all time. I probably mentioned that I hadn't seen Scream and that I know I would enjoy it. And I gave it 5 stars. I thought it was great. I thought it was so much fun. The fact that it's so meta and it's kind of not even really that scary. I mean, it is very tense.
It's not. No, you're right.
The last 40 minutes of it is like you're sort of at 1 minute you're like, oh my goodness, you got your hands to your head, and then the next minute you'll be pissing yourself laughing because it's so overblown and just ridiculous how cartoonishly villainous these 2 teenagers are. And I'd misremembered, because I remember watching reviews of it a while ago, like 2-3 years ago. I thought I knew who was the killer, but I was slightly wrong. So I was like, oh, I forgot that this happened.
That's fun.
So I almost like, I hadn't ruined it for myself. I was like, oh, amazing, I could still enjoy it. And man, it's just great. I love the aesthetic of it. I love the music, the songs that they drop into it. The cast is stellar, and knowing what they go on to achieve. I mean, what's her name? Geller. Oh my gosh, the one from Friends. Courtney Cox. There we go. The fact that she then married David Arquette, who plays the police officer in that, and I think possibly divorced, but anyway, still, it's quite nice that they have such great chemistry in the film, and you're like, oh, you do marry. It's nice knowing the context of that. And I love the mask. Like, I know it's goofy. It's kind of become the iconic Halloween mask.
It's iconic, isn't it? Yeah, it's the most iconic one.
And it's funny that within the film it becomes iconic as well. Like, the school kids are running around with it. I'm like, people are doing that right now, like, still.
Yeah.
And they've got colour variations. Like, do you remember when it was a real trend on TikTok about a couple of years ago where buff guys would just take photos topless with just the Scream mask on? Yeah, you know.
I do. Turning the Scream mask sexy, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, why not? Why not? It's a cool mask.
If you like the meta nature of it, you'll love them as they go on, because they only get more and more self-referential and more meta. So yeah, recommended to watch. I think it's 3 is what I really like. I think 3 is really good. But they're quite consistently decent. Nothing beats the first, as in a lot of the cases. And they all link up quite well. There's a nice sort of through plot going, and even right up to the one that's coming out this year, maybe. I think it might be this year, maybe next year. I'm just going to look
that up. I don't know when Scream 7 is, but
it might be this year. I think it got delayed, maybe.
Yeah, February 2026. Yeah, but it's on the way. Nice.
Yeah. Watching them and then being able to go see that in the cinema would be a good thing to do.
I think I might do that. I mean, as you say, I've heard good things about Scream 3. I don't know anything about Scream 2 or 4. I think 4's notoriously quite bad because they then rested it for years. But 5 and 6, which came out in the last few years, with oh my gosh, the main girl, the main lady of the hour,
Jenna
Ortega. There we go.
Jesus Christ.
I'll cut that down. It kind of catapulted her career, really, didn't it? That alongside Wednesday, I think, came out. In fact, Scream 5 might have been a year or 2 or a few months before Wednesday season 1. So it's fascinating to see that this sort of campy, silly little horror genre, which is more of like a spoof, really, isn't it, has catapulted so many people's careers. It's really fascinating to see. Other films I watched this week: The Corpse Bride by Tim Burton. And I know you do Champion before, Nightmare Before Christmas, don't you?
I do, yeah. So I think it's a big nostalgia thing. It was a film I watched over and over and over and over again. But I think arguably Corpse Bride might have a tighter plot, and it's got Richard E. Grant in. I forgot about that.
I forgot to message you about it. I can believe it when he came up. His name in the credit. I was like, oh my god, Richard E. Grant's in this. And I instantly sat forward. I was like, here we go. We're in for cinema now. I'll be honest. I didn't know anything about this, and I think Tim Burton's stans had sort of put me off it. I think I was very aware of Nightmare Before Christmas. I'd seen that I think a couple of times a while ago, and I wasn't sure what to expect. But when I saw that this film has an hour and 17-minute runtime, I was like, check. Then I found out it had Richard E. Grant, check. And then the first song is a banger, and I'm like, oh my god,
so good.
And then all the songs, I think there's one song in there that's a bit of a dud, but it's only short, so I didn't mind. But every song other than one of them is fantastic. The animation is, Nightmare Before Christmas, but I think it's on the same level. I think it's hard to compare them, even though this came out 9 years later, that sort of time. I knew that it had Johnny Depp as the lead character, who I didn't even like. That's a bloody great English accent that he's putting on here. I thought the character was kind of hot. And then both the women, I would have had either of them. Okay, I don't care that one was technically dead, but she had legs for days, Alf. My goodness, yummy. I thought it was great. The character designs were brilliant. It gave me Beetlejuice vibes when they go to the underworld. I thought that all worked brilliantly. The voice acting, as I said, was just across the board, top tier. It was really damn funny. I thought every line of comedy really hit, and I wasn't expecting it. I was like, this is a film from 2007 by Tim Burton that looks a little bit off-putting by design. I really wasn't expecting to like this as much as I did. Did I give it 5 stars on Letterboxd? I think I might have. Maybe I'm in a good mood this week.
I think I would. I think it's that the runtime, and like you said, is such a good thing about it. Yeah.
I checked it. I was like, how long have I got left? And it was 15 minutes. I was like, what? Like I could have gone for another hour. I thought it just flows by. It does not miss a beat. I thought it was fucking great. I really liked The Corpse Bride. I know I'm like, what, 15, 20 years late, but my god, what a fucking movie. It's great.
I'm so glad you liked it that much. The thing with Tim Burton is he's got a style. He's got a very, very, very obvious, clear style, but he knows what the fuck he's doing, and when he does it, it's good. No, it really is. Like you said, it's Beetlejuice, it's Wednesday, it's Nightmare Before Christmas, it's Corpse Bride. They all just fit together so well. Edward Scissorhands, and he knows what he's doing, and it's great. And I'm glad you mentioned the song, because that intro song is the catchiest thing ever. I just go about humming it sometimes. And the song when they're in the underworld with like the skeletons playing the jazz band, also like so good. I'm really glad you enjoyed it that much, because I think it's underappreciated. It's overshadowed by Nightmare Before Christmas a hell of a lot. And don't get me wrong, I love that film, but I think this one is one that really should get a bit more appreciation.
I love that it's Danny Elfman as well, who voices Bone Jangles, who's the skeleton. Obviously, he has done most of Tim Burton's scores, if not all of them, and did the Batman theme from 1980s. And
the most iconic fucking Batman theme going.
Yeah, and like the little, when they go to like Ace Chemicals in the Batman films, it's like like that, and that happens in this film. I'm like, that's you've ripped off your own material just 20 years later, and god damn it, it works. Like, it's so fun. I loved it. I'm gushing about it. I really, really liked it. I think it's one of the best films I've seen in, like, when you go back and you're like, oh, this will be a random watch, why not? And my, Tamsin was gushing about it as well. She was like, oh, I can't believe you've not seen this. And I was like, okay, I'll put it on. But like, I thought you kind of look at the posters and stuff, and you know that, oh, Johnny Depp's in it as Tim Burton. It's not really, I'm not bowled over by any of that stuff. And the posters look a bit drab. It looks a bit boring, a bit depressing.
The name itself is pretty, it's a pretty
and it's got like
shit
scrawny
name. It's, yeah.
My sort of hot take is that I'm not massively a fan of things like Paranorman and Coraline. I understand why people love it, but I think it's. I don't want to offend anyone listening, but I think it's sort of aimed at people that went through a goth phase, and I didn't go through one of them, so I'm sort of like, I don't really want to. This isn't for me. Like, it's all a bit grim and a bit gross, and it's cobwebby. Do you know what I mean? It's very musty.
Yeah. It's all spindly
Yeah.
and thin drawn lines, and absolutely.
It's scrawny, isn't it? And I get that's the point of it, but it really bloody worked in this, and I thought it was but that didn't put me off at all. I fucking loved it. I thought, stop me talking about this film, because I'll go on for ages.
The email inbox is working again. The producer, Jakob, got his coding fingers out and fixed all our issues. So we've had 2 emails pop through. I'm going to read this one. It's a bit of a long one, but it deserves to be read because both me and Adam have already read this, and I won't shy away. This made me have tingles in my heart.
Yeah, me too.
Adam had tingles somewhere else.
No, come on. Don't lower the tone.
This made me go like, I know we don't have many listeners, but this one actually like made me go, oh, maybe what we do is all right. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead with this one. It's prefaced with, please don't feel like you have to read the whole ramble. So funny. Well, hi there, Move On Up podcast. It's Jenna here, long-time listener, first-time email inner. I thought it was about time to get in touch. I want to apologise in advance that my email may not be as sophisticated as what you're used to. However, I feel you may also appreciate my lack of dissertation-esque email style too. I am, because when I'm reading them, I really struggle. Adam saves me in the edit with these emails.
I do. You sound literate when I edit them.
Yeah, literally. I started listening to the podcast to support Jacob's partner, who you all might famously know as the Alfie Walker. Mm-hmm. This was shortly after the podcast was given that slanderous 1-star review. Sorry if that's still a sensitive subject. And I'm sorry to say that I expected to listen to a couple of episodes, rate the pod 5 stars, and move on, or movie on, as it were. But no, that has not been the case. Since listening to your 10-minute long Nosferatu impressions, I have been hooked.
As it's Halloween, should we give her a little bit of Nosferatu? We haven't done it for a while.
Right? How fitting, yeah. We should definitely get Michael Caine in to interact with Nosferatu.
I'm going to read this email while I have a sip of my Horlicks.
God, can you imagine reading this whole email in that voice? It'd take 10 years.
We don't need to imagine, Alf. I usually listen to the podcast when I'm in the gym.
Picturing Count Orlok in the gym, also hilarious. I usually listen to the podcast when I'm at the gym, and by allowing myself to just listen to new episodes while I work out, it's been an incredible incentive because I'm always wanting to know your latest reviews and banter. However, I fear I end up looking like a deranged person at times, literally having to bite my cheek to stop myself from audibly laughing to you guys, and on occasions have actually laughed out loud to myself in the gym like a crazy person, and I've had a few concerned stares from my fellow gym goers. I think even one of those god-awful snort laughs came out last time too. Or there have been times where I've had to stop doing a set because I'm trying not to belly laugh. Maybe the Movie On Up podcast is the only ab workout I need. I used to go to the cinema so infrequently, and I would mainly only go for the new Marvel film hypes or the Barbenheimer type releases. But since listening to the podcast, I now find myself almost weekly trying to get to the cinema so I can watch a movie in anticipation for your review and avoid any potential spoilers mentioned in the podcast. Dare I say, I make it to the cinema more than Alfie does currently. Roasted. I also find myself watching films I never would have watched or little gems that I've never even heard of, thanks to the podcast. So enough with the ass kissing. Now, I did actually want to not... So, Jesus Christ. I did actually want to not so briefly mention the new Monsters series on Netflix that was recently released. Monster, the Ed Gein story, and I'm aware this is not a movie, so apologies about that. Can I also mention I find it funny that I will say I don't have time to watch a film, but will happily binge an 8-part series? Is this a Gen Z thing? Yeah, that is such a me
That's
thing.
you.
It's because it takes me an hour to get to the cinema and an hour back. That's why, but yeah, I'm on the same level there. So this is definitely going to be more of an Alfie watch because holy crap, I thought I had a good stomach for gory horror shows. But myself and my sister have been watching this together and both of us have had to look away from the screen at parts and both almost thrown up. I think my sister actually threw up in her mouth a bit. But that may have been due to poorly timed eating chicken nugget whilst watching an episode of this. We still have 2 more episodes to watch of the series, and both of us have questioned if we're even going to be able to continue watching because we've been so traumatized. I've not had a show make me feel this paranoid and afraid since I was 7 years old, Jenna watching the Blink episode of Doctor Who for the first time. Honestly, me and my sister are 2 grown-ass women and we were actually turning every light on in our flat and checking every room for serial killers before we went to sleep after watching the first couple of episodes. We even considered topping and tailing on the sofa bed so we didn't have to sleep alone in our rooms. Every time you think you've seen the worst thing Ed Gein could possibly do, he just goes and unnecessarily tops it. If you thought the point-blank range gunshots were bad in The Long Walk, times that by 1,000 and then add a lampshade made out of flayed corpse skin.
Oh.
Yeah, I finished this one as well, Adam. It's definitely not one for you.
Okay.
You have to give props to the director and writers because as well as the show being unbelievably unhinged, it's also quite artistic in the way that they've chosen to do it. Ed Gein, as in the real life Ed Gein, has inspired multiple horror film classics such as Psycho, Texas Chainsaw Massacre and many more. The series somewhat honours this by time jumping forward to see these films being made about Ed Gein. There's a particularly good episode where they show Alfred Hitchcock, the director of Psycho, showing this screening of the movie for the first time during the famous shower stabbing scene. We see viewers of the film screaming, looking away in disgust, walking out, throwing up. There's even a woman who goes into labour due to the shock of the film. Which is what I imagine happened at the first time of the actual viewing of the film, which, yeah, I believe it did. We then see a very bemused Alfred Hitchcock say, I can make whatever I want, as he's realised even with the wild shock value of this new film, people will want to see it because of that. And that's exactly what I think the director has aimed to do with Monsters. So who's to say that in 50 years' time, a man wearing a dead woman's scalped hair whilst dancing around skin-flayed furniture-filled home could be tame viewing cinematic experience, similar to how watching Psycho in this day and age would be tame for us as a viewer now. I'm interested to hear how you think gore shock value cinema has progressed, will progress, or what series has most traumatized you so that I can avoid it. That's a good one. Anyway, thank you for listening to my trauma. Sorry it was a bit of a long one. I hope that it was grammatically correct enough in places. I was considering using some big words to try trip you up whilst reading my email, but I thought it'd be nice after a busy film festival week. Amazing, by the way. Once I get over my Ed Gein trauma this weekend, I'm looking forward to getting back to the cinema and maybe seeing the new Jordan Peele film, Him, or I'll possibly start more lighthearted with the new Aziz Ansari film, Good Fortune. Well, there you go, Adam. Either way, I'm looking forward to your reviews. If you catch either of those films, I really enjoy listening to both of you. I continue to crease up at Kane's Corner, and when you describe a film length in reference to Tom Cruise's height, I'm manifesting that you get sponsored by a gourmet popcorn brand. Keep it up, move on up. Thanks, Jenna.
Jenna, thank you very much. I know Alfie said at the top of that email that we both read it and got a bit teary-eyed and, just a nice fuzzy, warm feeling. It's a really lovely written email and we really appreciate it. And the time that you've put into that email is, it's not gone unnoticed. To lap back to that question, Alf, what's the most traumatizing thing you've ever watched?
This is a great one because Pulp Kitchen posted a TikTok saying what was the scariest thing that traumatized you as a kid, and I replied to it. So this is right at the top of my brain. When I was about 4 years old, maybe 5, I used to go to my nan's, and when my nan went to work, my uncle would babysit me for the like 3 hours I was there, and he put on Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, and as a 5-year-old, this scared the shit out of me. I was so scared of this film. I remember him forcing me to watch it. Went home terrified, didn't say anything, and then cut to 8 months later. We were going to Disneyland Paris as a family, and my parents were like, why the fuck won't you get on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride? And I remember crying, going, I don't want to get on this ride, because I was so traumatized. And they had no idea. They were just like, why are you being such an idiot? Why won't you get on this ride? There's no reason for you to be scared. And they had to bribe me with, if you go on this ride, we'll buy you a toy after. And then when we got back, they found out that no, my mum's brother had traumatized me by making me watch this film.
That's so good. I'm sorry to hear that you had that experience. Yeah, and now you love the franchise, so what a 180 that is.
Yeah, right, yeah. Arguably got him to thank, because maybe that's where I got hooked onto it.
For me, I'm probably going to give a silly answer as well. Something that really traumatized me as a kid, and I've not actually rewatched it since. My dad put on The Mask with Jim Carrey, and that really freaked me out. When it gets stuck to his face and he's trying to yank it off, and it's like possessing him, I was like, this is actually horrific. And then he's doing like all the dance, and just everything is so loud and in your face, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And I think I'm so sort of in two minds about that kind of thing. I love chaotic comedy, I really do, but also at times I just want to be quiet. Like, I'm very one or the other. And I think The Mask came at a time when clearly I was like, I don't want to watch this. So, and I remember screaming and crying, like really begging my parents to turn it off. And I remember running to the conservatory. Yes, we had a conservatory, ducking under the table and not moving. And like my dad had to like drag my legs out from under the table because I wouldn't move. And I just point blank refused. So that was probably the most traumatized I was. But also, I mentioned it earlier today, actually. Superman 3, that also really freaked me out. When the woman gets turned into... What freaked you out in that,
sorry?
It's when, you know, they have the big old supercomputer in the side of the mountain or whatever. It, like, sustains itself and it won't let it be shut down. It's like Superman tries to unplug it and it still doesn't work. And it then starts feeding off the life force of this woman that's innocent, by the way. She's just sucked in, you know, she gets sucked in by wires and then turned into a robot, like metal clamps around her. And it, like, it's really, if you watch it now, like, it's really bad. Like, they stick a black wig on her and she's got clearly just like a Toys R Us kiddie mask on her face. But at the time, again, it led to a fear of showers. So there we are. Also, just to round out this shower talk that we've seemingly delved into this week, I do shower a lot. I shower every day, if not every other day. I don't want
thing, bro.
Yeah, just because I have a phobia doesn't mean I don't brave it. I'm a very brave boy. Okay.
I'm imagining you get in there and you're just like, I need to be clean, I need to be clean, I need to be clean. You wash yourself really quick and get out.
I don't even turn the water on.
To finish off, we've got another email as well. Only a quick one, so we'll round things off nicely. From Lenny. Hello, Moving Up team. Just a short one today, but I wondered your opinions on the situation. Cutting it short, it's been announced that The Inbetweeners is making a comeback in 2026. Alfie knows I'm a huge Inbetweeners fan. I watch it almost every day. It's my favourite show, as well as Gavin and Stacey. You would think I was ecstatic about this information, and as I was with the Gavin and Stacey finale announcement. However, honestly, I'm very worried for what this will be. And as The Inbetweeners is such an amazing time capsule of being a young teen in the 2000s in England, and then placing them back in 2026, will this work? I don't think this will work particularly well, especially with them being a lot older. I do think this could work quite well for some amazing jokes, though. I also think, without being too on the nose, the comedy in The Inbetweeners is very of its time and wouldn't work as well in the modern day for obvious reasons. Anyway, would love to hear your opinions. Thanks for reading. Your number one, Lendog. It's quite a good quick one here. What's your opinion on In-Betweeners? Are you a big fan? Did you watch it when you were a bit younger, or?
No, but it is one of those shows that I've sort of dipped in and out of. I haven't seen every episode, far from it, but every episode I have seen, I've enjoyed very much, and I think it's a very funny show and very smartly written. And as Lenny said there, really does do an excellent job of capturing that uniquely weird, awkward sixth form age that you have in the UK, and specifically of the early 2000s, which obviously I was not sixth form age at that time, but having done sixth form, having done secondary school, I still think it holds up. So I almost think there's kind of no point really in them bringing it back. Like I don't want to say remake it, but they may as well just keep the sort of joy of that is that it captures school life. It appealed to people that were that age, right? I don't know if obviously the fans of it are now the same sort of age as they are, but as Lenny says, I think it's going to be awkward to see them old and a little bit not slow. I know they're only middle-aged, but I know Simon Bird and I know the others. Like they all look a bit dishevelled, bless them, and I'm sure they'd get hair and makeup for the film, but there's a part of me that's a bit like, I don't know if I think the film with them might be a bit uncool, you know?
Bang on the money, mate. I don't think I could say anything else. I think the novelty of it is how you can relate to it, because they were there in school. You remember, you have experiences that they have on the screen. You have yourself, or you had yourself. And like Lenny said, it's a time capsule. I think bringing them out at age, they've got to be 40. I reckon they've got to be 40 plus. Bringing them out, throwing them in 2026. And there's jokes in that original series that would not fly today. That flies when you watch it because it was made then. Same way when you watch Only Fools and Horses, you can get away with it. It's not that bad. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there that it wouldn't go down well. I just don't think it can have the same magic. So I'm not a fan of it. It should absolutely just be kept as this little time capsule of what it's like being a teenager in your early 20s in England in school.
Yeah, I agree. I think if they are to do this remake, I think it's confirmed, isn't it? Sorry, not remake, this legacy sequel, I guess. It will either go one of two ways. It will either go negatively and it will end up like an American Pie sequel where it all seems a little bit icky and a bit depressing. It's like, oh, you're grown men doing this. That's a bit weird. Or it will be successful and it will be more like T2 Trainspotting, that kind of vibe. So we'll wait and see which way the coin lands, I guess.
Thank you both for the email. Really appreciate it, Lenny, as always. And thank you, Jenna, for emailing. Like you said, honestly, the email meant loads. Absolutely. I'm going to see Jenna this Friday. She's doing a Halloween party that me and Jacob are going to try go to. So I'm going to go dressed up as Alfie from Movie On Up, of course, as my costume. I'm sure, maybe she'll fangirl over me. I don't know. No, thank you for emailing in. Honestly, really, really nice. If you'd like to email in, just like Jenna and just like Lenny and just like Josh Brooker does, you can. The email is hello@movieonup.com.
You can also get in touch via Instagram and TikTok. The handles for both of those platforms are @MovieOnUp. Thank you very much for listening to this episode of
Ghouly On Up. Perfect.
Yeah.
That's your lot.